And would you please add more about case study on news and journalist breach of course?
Yeah, we have many means of public complaints. The first, of course, come to the press council office. Of course, with even you come with a short notice is fine. And then the other mean is you fill the form in the internet. We have a form of complaint form, and also we can you can complain through letters, emails. So then the press council commission committee will decide whether your complaints really have a basic is really in line with the press council automatic. And normally it takes 1 week until not more than 2 months, because we have stated also that any complaint must be handled less than 3 months. So you can expect to have the result in less than 3 months. And of course, there is 2 mechanisms. We issue adjudication to state that whether the articles, the media content that was complained is really violate ethics, or in most cases, we mediate it. We mediated the public that complained and to meet with the editors of the media that complained. And if they reach agreement, and the case is closed, no need any issue any adjudication. I think to my knowledge, 60% of the cases can be solved amicably by mediate, because many of the complaint is misunderstanding, because member of public, especially political figure, celebrities, it's not really understood how the media role in criticizing public figure, politicians.
Is there any question to Mr. Lucas from the floor? Okay, you may digest the information and ask afterward. I'll move to another country from the experience of UK, because the constitutional protection of freedom of expression is for the press, and also it's assumed that self-regulation is for news representation, pure self-regulation without state involvement. However, the self-regulation in news sector are challenged by the problems of set the fox to guard the hen house. In other words, it's a conflict of interest between the committee and the industry. So I think the case from UK can tell you and share with us about the solution in his countries. Please welcome Mr. Chris. Yes.
I'm going to talk just about news today, and I'm going to start with a preface which is in the United Kingdom and within sort of Western society. News is considered to be the absolute lifeblood of democracy. It is of crucial importance, and in survey after survey, when we ask members of the public what is the most important aspect of public service broadcasting, news is always the first. But why is it so important? It all boils down to trust. And how do you know whether or not you can trust TV?
We don't want to just change your phone. We want to make you say, wow, that is a bigger change than I expected. iPhone 5 is a result of that desire to surprise.
It's been completely redesigned. For the first time ever, we've increased the size of the display. By making the screen taller but not wider, you can see more of your content without the need to scroll. We're making scrolling a thing of the past. iPhone 5 is more comfortable to use and reduces scrolling fatigue while reading long documents.
Even with the larger display, iPhone 5 is the thinnest iPhone we've ever built. To achieve a design this tall, we had to look at a complete redesign of the internal architecture. It's 18% thinner and 795% taller than the previous iPhone.
It makes everything you do on iPhone 5 feel easier and just a move of your arm away. No more hidden menus, no confusing gestures. Everything is right at your fingertips.
The panoramic feature is simply awesome. The Ultra HD widescreen display lets you get your entire shot in a single snap. You can also use your iPhone 5's innovative design for image stabilization.
With an iPhone this tall, reception has never been better. You'll enjoy crystal clear clarity on even the longest calls. And of course, all your favorite apps are still available. In fact, you'll find your old favorites also benefit from the new, experience-enhancing Ultra HD widescreen. We found that while many previous iPhone owners were using FaceTime, they were using it for their faces. That's why we're introducing Body Time. Using iPhone 5's Ultra HD widescreen display, Body Time lets you see a person's entire body, allowing you to detect mannerisms and defects like never before.
We looked way beyond what we saw as expected. It took all of our learning, all of our thinking, to realize something so simple, so clear, and yet so tall.
iPhone 5, the tallest thing to happen to iPhone since iPhone.
So, how do we know whether that really is true or not? Is that accurate or not? The regulator Ofcom does a lot of research, and one thing that always comes out is radio and television news is trusted source more than any other news. You can see that for 2011 is at 58% for television, while it's 65% for radio, and newspapers is at 32%. So the question that we often ask ourselves is why? And I think there are a number of reasons for this. And it might be the legal requirements for accuracy and due impartiality in news. But as we'll see later, that comes with freedom of expression issues as well. So, we discussed in the last day or so what requirements the editorial code has for all programming, and of course news is any other programming and it must comply with all aspects of the code. However, there are certain parts of the code which are specifically aimed at news. These are due impartiality and due accuracy. There is a requirement that all news is reported with due impartiality. That means, effectively, not favouring one side or the other. Similarly, something has to be accurate, it has to be truthful. On the other hand, the word due is an important qualification. It doesn't mean absolute, it means appropriate to the subject matter. So depending on what your subject matter might be, the impartiality that is required will vary. For instance, a sports report might not require the same sort of impartiality as one of political controversy. There is also a legal requirement throughout the European Union that no news is sponsored. So news must be, and must be seen to be, free of any commercial consideration. So, what sort of subject matters must be reported duly and impartially? Certainly all news programmes, but also all programmes that deal with controversial matters. And that is defined as political or industrial controversy or matters relating to current public policy. There is also a requirement that every licence holder of a television or radio licence of Ofcom must not use their licence to promulgate, to promote the licensee's opinion. There are provisions which allow you to be a little bit more flexible in your impartiality. You can use programs throughout a series to provide impartiality. If you are a News 24 channel, you obviously have your whole channel to ensure impartiality. You can also have what we call personal view programs. Programs that are presented and authored by particular journalists. And during election time, which is considered to be one of the most important times of democracy, there are certain rules that require special impartiality. But let us not deny that the requirement for due impartiality is itself a restriction on freedom of expression. Requiring broadcasters to present their programmes with due impartiality necessarily restricts their freedom of expression. And this is in marked contrast to perhaps America, where there are no due impartiality rules. And in fact, what they require is absolute freedom of expression and freedom of speech, and you can say, within the bounds of the law, what you want about matters political or otherwise. They're two very different approaches, but may achieve a similar end. But news, in itself, every day is about making very difficult decisions. And I've got some examples here of these balances between privacy, impartiality, and effects. I'm going to show you a piece here. There is a warning that it does contain some quite graphic shooting images, so if you are sensitive, I'd look away. This was transmitted by the BBC 10 o'clock news.
I should tell viewers that in the report you're about to see, we did film the moment when the attacker was shot dead. This bank security guard is telling me he's just killed the driver of the bulldozer. He hasn't. As we talk, the bulldozer sets off down the road again. Inside the cab, a fight breaks out. Two men climb on board the bulldozer. The man in the blue t-shirt shoots the driver at point-blank range. We film the moment he's killed.
I don't know if you remember that. That was in 2008 on the borders of the Palestine-Israeli area. That was a BBC news footage. They decided to transmit it. They did receive a number of complaints, understandably. They decided afterwards that actually it wasn't the right decision to show the images in the way that they did. However, there is this constant battle between the reality, the truth, and not sanitising news. And there is a balance always to be judged between glorification of violence or showing it as it is. There are a number of different channels within the UK, Al Jazeera, International being an example, which is often licensee, which tends to show more graphic imagery than other channels. But it is a constant battle, and I think particularly relevant in societies which are coming out of, coming into democracy, coming out of restrictions, where the importance and relevance of real life news is very important. And there is a danger by not permitting certain strong images that you start to sanitise news. And so news certainly has more liberty than other programmes like our Four Eyes to explore and push the boundaries. So, other ethics in news. The other relevant parts of the Code of Ethics, our broadcasting code, are obviously fairness and privacy.